Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Laura Plummer, and I am the statewide Assistive Technology Program Coordinator for WisTech, Wisconsin's Assistive Technology Act program. So WisTech is excited to kick off our 2024 webinar series talking about fun times, talking about recreation. It's a great topic to kick the summer off. So a little bit of housekeeping as we get started here today. So this webinar is brought to you free of charge from WisTech, Wisconsin's AT program, and the Department of Health Services. We are using the webinar platform on Zoom, which means that your cameras are turned off and your microphones are muted. We do encourage the use of chat or the Q&A for any questions, and we will be monitoring that throughout today's session. We have captions available with a CART reporter, and you can access those on the bottom menu. We also have an ASL interpreter who will be visible throughout today's webinar. All of our webinars are archived and made available after the fact on our WisTech YouTube channel. And we also are offering free CEUs and CRCs, which are rehab counselor credits. And you'll be able to access those by taking the survey at the end of today's webinar. And there will also be a link in that survey to a PDF of the handouts from today. The certificates for CEUs and CRCs will be based on completing that survey and taking a short quiz in that survey and then submitting your information. Those certificates will be emailed out within 30 days of today's date. And you'll have about a week to complete the survey. But again, there'll be a link at the end of the webinar, and then you'll get a link in your email tomorrow for that survey. We do look for your feedback, as that help guides what we bring in future webinars as training topics. So I believe that is what we needed for our housekeeping. So I'm excited to welcome some of my other director colleagues from around the country, and we'll go ahead and let them get started. So to begin with, we've got 3 states here joining us today. So if nothing more, today's recreation webinars is going to maybe give you some vacation ideas for this summer or the future summer. So first we have Melinda Dolezal. She is the program director from New York. We have Marth Rust from Tools for Life for Georgia, and we have Bora Lee from the AT program in Utah. So welcome to the 3 of you. I really do appreciate your time today and sharing the information that your program has, what your state offers, and how we can make recreation accessible for everyone. So I will go ahead and turn it all over to you.
Thank you, Laura. And thank you everybody for being here. I just want to make sure, can you guys hear me?
You're good to go.
Okay, perfect. Yes, thank you so much. We're honored to be here and to see, people from, all over, particularly the Midwest, whether you're in Manitowoc, Madison, Menominee, Michigan, Minnesota. I was trying to think of a city name in Arizona because I saw Mike Buckley that starts with an M and I couldn't. So Tucson, I'm sure there's a town that starts with an M, but we're Mesa, Maricopa, there you go. We have Manhattan, so only Manhattan, but we so we're lucky that we have this amazing network of AT programs across the country that we're able to bounce ideas off of each other, compare notes, and come together to collaborate to share what's working and how can we improve. So I'm extremely lucky that I was able to work with Bora Lee and Marth Rust. We actually made this presentation at PAC-RIM a couple of months ago in Honolulu, and it was amazing to meet all of the people there and to see and maybe hear from you guys as we present. So as Laura said, my name is Melinda. I'm from the New York State AT program, the Technology Related Assistance for Individuals with Disabilities program. I'll turn it over to Martha really quick.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm Marth Rust. I'm the program director for the Tools for Life program, the program in Georgia, and we hope that you will all come and visit after our webinar.
And Bora?
Hi, I'm Bora Lee. Currently, I'm in Seoul, Korea. So if there is a delay, I hope you understand. I am an Asian woman with wavy shoulder length black hair, and I'm wearing a white t-shirt, and my backdrop features a landscape of Utah State University. So, and I use she, hers pronouns.
Thank you, Bora. And if technology does, sometimes technology doesn't like us as AT directors, we know more than anybody. We'll just keep rolling with the punches. So as Laura said, you know, each of our states offers a lot of unique opportunities when it comes to recreation, and not just recreation, but how to make it accessible for as many people as possible. So that being said, I'm just going to pull up our PowerPoint really quickly. And we'll start you off and give you some examples, some ways of exploring accessibility in your states. And feel free to, if any of these look good, we love when people steal good ideas. So hopefully you will think that these are some things that you could use in your states. So is everybody seeing the PowerPoint?
We are seeing it in the presenter mode versus the single slides, if you prefer to have that.
How's that?
Perfect.
Woohoo! So our presentation is Unlocking the Power of Recreation. So this really was a group effort between the three of us. And it's great because all three of our states are so unique. You know, opportunities in Utah are, you know, a lot different than New York and a lot different than Georgia. So it really gave us a unique kind of perspective of three very different, but very, you know, special areas of the country. So for those of you that aren't familiar kind of with us as the AT programs or with assistive technology, assistive technology is any item, piece of equipment or product system, whether acquired commercially, modified or customized, that is used to increase, maintain or improve functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities. So it really runs the gambit. It could be low tech, mid tech, high tech. Low tech, you know, like a large print playing card, to as high tech as something like an Obi robot that is used to help people eat independently. So the AT that we use in our programs address 10 categories, but really all functional needs that somebody may have in their lives, including vision, hearing, speech communication, learning, cognition and development, mobility, seating and positioning, daily living, environmental adaptations, vehicle modification, computers and automated home systems, and recreation, sports and leisure. And in this picture, you can see kind of a few different examples, some smaller devices that are Go Talks used for communication, these kind of grid objects. It's a little difficult to see a little bit further back, but you know, it's such a vast world in terms of assistive technology. You know, people have seen wheelchairs, they've seen, you know, or experienced, you know, even things like you know, an automatic door at the grocery store, like universal design, assistive technology, and all of these, you know, things make life easier for all of us in a lot of ways. But one thing that, you know, us three kind of were looking at with PACRM was recreation, sports, and leisure is a huge part of our day. It's a huge part of our lives, but we don't always talk about it because we need to get up in the morning. We need to eat breakfast. We need to go to work, go to school. But we still have time in our day that, you know, we want to join a sport, play a video game, spend time knitting. And what does that look like for all of us? So if you want to know more about the AT program in your state, if we are not one of yours, you know, whether, you know, if you're not in Wisconsin, New York, Georgia, or Utah, feel free to check out the AT3 Center website, which lists all 56 programs, because if you're not aware, all the 50 states, as well as the 6 US territories, have their own assistive technology program. And just some additional information if you want to look up your own state or just some other information that you think might be helpful. The Administration for Community Living, AT3, which is our technical assistance wing, some assistive technology data at CATATA, the Center for Assistive Technology Act Data Assistance, and some social media. Additionally, the Georgia program has some great social media going on, as do most of the other AT programs. In New York, we do as well, but feel free to check out AT3, ACL, and CATATA. So I'm going to get us started. I'm sorry if you're tired of my voice already, but technology, and I do apologize, I have pretty bad seasonal allergies. So as much as I want to get out and experience the trails and be, you know, a climber, I have to deal with that. So I might be blowing my nose a little bit throughout the presentation. So as the Director of TRIAD, which is again the Technology Related Assistance for Individuals with Disabilities program, we've seen a lot of cool things in New York. It's an interesting state, as are all 50, all the other 49 in the territories, but we have some unique stuff going on. So we in New York, as with all of the other AT programs, we serve people of all ages and abilities by promoting greater independence through the use of AT. More than 1 in 4 New York State adults have 1 or more disabilities, and that's not even counting, children in early intervention. As we age, many of us will experience various disabilities or needs that we didn't always have, but that doesn't stop our desire and our need for recreation and just fun. So in New York, we have 12 regional trade centers that cover all areas of the state, just like your states. If you have you do have an AT program, and they cover every single portion of it. So our 12 are divided up into these areas. They vary in terms of geographic area and population, but they also vary in terms of opportunities there. So for example, if you're not familiar with the geography of New York, this, if you can see my cursor, this area through what probably can't see, Hamilton, Franklin, Essex County, that is really the heart of the Adirondack Mountains. There's a lot of opportunities for camping, hiking, fishing, you name it. Whereas down south, a lot of opportunities for beaches and for, less mountainous activities. So in talking about, recreation, we have to look at accessibility. It's one thing to have a great idea and to say, I want to implement this in my region, but then also taking a step back and saying, how do we make this as inclusive as we can? Because a lot of the times, there's things that we don't always think about because there's a lot of different components. And so the next couple of slides, we want to kind of give you some ideas and some things to keep in the back of your mind if you do have, an idea or an initiative that you want to invite a big variety of people. So many of us, are probably familiar with accessibility, but just, it's that every person, regardless of their disability, is afforded the opportunity to acquire the same information and engage in the same interactions and enjoy the same services as somebody who might not have a disability, and that it's equally, integrated, effective, and equivalent to use. So basically, if you're going to be having something that invites, a wide variety of people, is there a way for people to get there? Are they able to interact the same, to play the same? And it can be a little bit more complicated than we sometimes imagine, but once you kind of get a sense of how to kind of approach it, it really pays off in dividends. So some things to consider, regardless if you're doing something indoors or outdoors, ease of access to a location. So things like, is there accessible parking? One thing that we're looking at that's not really recreation based, but with voting, is there accessible parking at that location? Is it easy to get to? What about public transit? One thing in New York that we had, again, with voting, but we'll talk about voting for long, is there was some complications with sites that weren't on public transit, which made it difficult for people with disabilities to get to. The same basic idea also goes into recreation. If you're having an event at a baseball field, how easy is it for people to get there? Is it something that there's gravel on the pathway if somebody's using a wheelchair? Another thing to consider is navigating the actual location. So maybe if it's indoors, are the doorways wide enough? Are there stairs? Are there ramps? Are there elevators? Recently, I went to a concert with a friend of mine who uses a wheelchair, and surprisingly, it was a tiny venue, but they had everything that he needed in order to navigate. Elevators to get down to the basement of where the concert was, wide doors, and loud music. So what else can you ask for? So keeping that in mind, if you're going to have an event somewhere, are these, criteria that somebody is going to be able to look at and say, yes, I can get there. Restrooms, are stalls accessible? Are sinks reachable? Another thing that, people don't always consider is availability of larger restrooms, or sometimes, called family restrooms. Speaking of my experience as a direct support professional, sometimes, or really anybody, if you have a family member that needs this care, somebody needs help in the bathroom, whether it's, washing their hands or, whatever it happens to be, making sure that there's enough space for them to be able to work with or help the person that they're with. So again, things that, you know, a lot of times people will consider, you know, maybe the accessible parking, but then, you know, is somebody able, once they're at that location, can they get to the bathroom? Are they able to wash their hands? Is there a way for them to be able to pay for food? Is it, you know, if there's a booth for burgers or whatnot? Communication formats, you know, a lot of times we think about materials if they're large print, but is somebody going to need something like Braille, or is there an interpreter available like our lovely interpreters here today? You know, keeping those things in mind to help with whatever somebody might need. And finally, for our purposes, you know, not, you know, balanced in there as well, assistive technology. Are there resources that could support a person's full participation that they might not have otherwise, which is really where a lot of our examples are going to come from, because a lot of these things we can work to provide, making sure that a location is accessible, making sure that, you know, the sidewalk, does it need to be paved? Can it be dirt? Can it be gravel? Can it be, you know, are wood chips okay? Once you've kind of looked at all of those other things, sometimes people might have a need for assistive technology that maybe it's a very expensive item, but being able to borrow it through a location really unlocks their, you know, ability to fully participate in an activity as opposed to, you know, sort of participating. So accessibility, you know, affects everybody. And we just wanted to give a couple of examples here of things that we print at our trade center. Like you can see the top left is a red large print card holder for somebody that might have difficulty grasping a couple of cards. These are actually, you know, large print cards. To the right of that are some adaptive gardening tools. One time I went to an event for vocational rehabilitation just to show some examples of types of things. You know, not everybody wants to work in an office. Some people want to work with their hands. They want to garden. They want to work, you know, outside. And I asked what somebody thought it was. They said a back scratcher. And I mean, they're not wrong, but also better to keep those in the soil. And that's another thing. Accessibility, you know, and recreation can tie to what we end up doing as a career. So sometimes it's a good place to start with somebody who might be, you know, in the beginning phases of the vocational rehabilitation process to say, you know, what kind of things do you like to do? And can we kind of tap into that? You know, maybe they like to cook. So exploring, you know, maybe this person is interested in doing something food related. Maybe they really just want to work outside. Maybe they want to, you know, work with different groups of people. Is there assistive technology that, you know, can help with that in a career setting where they go to work and it's not just work, it's something that somebody truly enjoys. Bottom left and the bottom right are not our pictures, but I thought they were really cool. Bottom left is an adaptive video game controller. There are more and more things coming out and related to video games, and Martha has some great examples when she gets to what Georgia's doing with video games. And then bottom right is just a cute kiddo with a Switch operated toy. So these are actually from New York, some of our things that we do that I'm proud of my staff that they really do think outside of the box. Every Tuesday we have what's called Trade Tuesdays on one of our center's Facebook pages. So they incorporate seasonally what's going on in, you know, around us with assistive technology to really promote what they're doing. So if you've never seen the Saw movies, one of our staff dressed up as Jigsaw and rode one of our adaptive bikes down the hallway to promote on their page. And it was well received, and the bikes went out on loan pretty quickly after. So kind of incorporating that into letting people know who your program is and what you're about. That's actually me on the top right at Get Outdoors and Get Together Day, which is an annual event. We just had it actually on Saturday, where a lot of the parks and throughout New York have accessible recreation activities going on. So this was actually at John Dillon State Park, which I'll get to in a second. And then bottom right is one of our beach wheelchairs shortly before our staff, Nick, was pushed into the very cold Hudson River, but he was the champ. So, and the chair worked perfectly. So we wanted to talk about some opportunities for partnering for more accessible outdoor recreation, because we can't do what we do alone. And it pays so much to really look at what is in your state, what are other people doing, and how can you pool your resources to make things even bigger and, you know, and more effective for people in your state. So the first is Paul Smith College in SUNY Plattsburgh. If you don't know where Plattsburgh is, it's way up north, almost at the Canadian border. There is, it's in really the heart of the Adirondacks, right before you get to Canada. And what they ended up doing was a partnership with Paul Smith College to evaluate and measure doorways, hallways, bathroom spaces, and water fountains within the Visitor Interpretive Center. I'm going to blame my allergies for tripping over my words. They were able to make recommendations to make the building more accessible with the goal to build on trail accessibility. So the VIC is a great starting place that people go to before they start, their adventures in that region of the Adirondacks, and making it accessible for people, really, I can't say enough about, what it did to help people be more comfortable, and also to show that, they were being considered and their needs were being taken in, very seriously to make this as accessible as possible. So John Dillon State Park, if you are not familiar, is a state park in the heart of the Adirondacks. It is a fully accessible park that has, among other things, crusher line trails that are wheelchair accessible. Really any type of wheelchair. It doesn't have to be a power chair or a Trax wheelchair, which almost look like little tanks. The stalls of the bathrooms have clear floor space. There are 9 lean-tos on the site that are fully accessible by ramp or transfer from a wheelchair. They all have basically built-in ramps into the lean-tos, and fully informational signage with large print. So this is an example of one of the lean-tos. As you can see on the right, it does have a small ramp built in. Each one is available for people to reserve and spend, a day or two in the Adirondacks. It's in addition to this, there are accessible boat launches, and pretty much the entire, part of this park, the park itself is, really a jewel in within the Adirondacks. So that's where I was sitting for Get Outdoors and Get Together Day. So more accessible sports and recreation. So, obviously hiking is a big part of New York's identity. For those of you that know what the 46ers are, people that are, hiked off 46 high peaks. But for things like sports, recreation, and leisure, we have a lot of minor league baseball teams. We have this one team called the Yankees. I don't know if you've heard of them, which I'm not a Yankees fan, but we also have a lot of Little League participation around New York State. And in the lower Hudson Valley, we had a trade center put forward the idea for Bambino Buddy Ball, which is part of, it's a larger national program. But for us, it involved using durable cones, Flagstaff overcomers, which are really neat pieces of technology that I have a picture on the next slide, and beep baseballs. So staff advocated for a wider fence for the entrance openings, suitable parking lots, and rubberized fields. The goal is to continue increasing accessibility of playing fields. And this one is a bit of a sad one because, as much as we pushed for this, we also, sometimes people don't always know that we're there until, it's too late. So for this year, we had to, we weren't able to do the full initiative, but we are continuing for years future, which is why I still mention it, because, it's learning, okay, we did this, how do we do it again in the future? And who can we reach out to? So, don't let, unintended kind of best laid plans that don't go the way you want, don't let them, affect how you do things in the future. We're continuing to push for this. This is a Flagstaff overcomer. It is a device that allows people to use a baseball bat like you see here, or a tennis racket, a golf club, or really any kind of club sporting implement that can be raised to the height of the person and calibrated to their range of motion. They've been a huge hit. No pun intended. And they've been used quite a bit at our trade centers. So this is a piece of equipment that somebody might not be able to afford, in their personal life, but through us, they can borrow it. And so it's letting people know we're here, we can do this if you want to. And finally, making toys more accessible. And granted, there's so many, everybody has a different hobby. Some people, as I said, some people knit, some people go to Comic-Con, some people play video games, some people do fantasy football. So making toys more accessible was something that we were able to do last year, actually, with our friends in Pennsylvania, but I'll get to that in a second. So one of our programs down in Westchester does an annual partnership to create switch-operated toys for children to play and at the same time learn cause and effect. So what they do is they post their toy wish lists online. People then donate specific toys because not everything can be rewired to allow the use of switches. But then they are basically pulled apart by volunteers, local students, and as I said, part of the STEM program. Then they are donated to children in the community. And if you are interested, I can, put a link in the chat of this particular video showing kind of how they switch adapt a particular toy. So this isn't the actual event that that Westchester did, but this is a collaboration that we did with our buddies in Pennsylvania at Tech Owl. Can't really see all the way on the left here is Tom from Tech Owl. He did a presentation with Alana, also from Tech Owl, not too long ago at WisTech, and it was one of my favorites. So we were able to adapt these bunnies that you see here and some trucks in the back to make them switch adapted. And these were with people from Spin Master Toys. So all credit to Tech Owl. We're just happy we were along for the ride. So just a couple of other quick examples for people. I know the links aren't going to work on this PowerPoint, but again, I can put them in the chat. Get Outdoors and Get Together Day is a statewide initiative that brings people, from Buffalo to Long Island, up north, to experience all the different state parks through both DEC and the Parks Department. Trails Without Limits, which is the one I skipped by accident. We have all-terrain wheelchair rentals for trail goers in different parts of our state, which are those blanking on the brand, but basically wheelchairs that can go anywhere because they have treads in them. So people are able to rent them for a day and go out and experience the natural beauty of New York. Trade on the Trails is a yearly event we hold for adaptive biking on the Erie Canal. That's a partnership between Trade out there and other organizations like AT Village that provide recreation and the Golisano Center. So it's a great opportunity for people to come together, try out different things, learn about assistive technology, because not everybody, in any form of life, not everybody is the same. So somebody might work for a bike might work for one person, a trike might work for another, different types will work for a different person. We want them to have that option. And finally, Stride Adaptive Sports is an organization in New York that has low-cost adaptive sports and lessons. So a really neat organization that gives people opportunities to try things in their community that they might not otherwise either know about or have the resources to participate in. And I just wanted to share, our DEC recently made an interactive map that covers the what the accessibility features are at different sites throughout New York. So people can go to this site, they can check out, what's closest to them, what is accessible, is it parking, is it, facilities, what does that look like in that region? So they're continuing to add to this, constantly. It's a big project that they worked on. And it's something I'm going to try out myself because I met the person that did it this weekend and it really was a labor of love. And then one last, a bonus, for us as AT programs, it's getting people the assistive technology they need, to use personally, but we also can use recreation to help other people understand, how a disability might affect somebody in ways that, other people might not always expect. So our program at the Southern Tier Independent Center in Binghamton, New York, invited local Boy Scouts to learn about AT and disabilities. They made it a lot of fun. They showed them things like the adaptive video game controllers to help, people see, just because we are different in some ways, we still have the same interests and the same, we all want to have fun. And at the same time, we pushed them a little bit. So for example, they had a wheelchair race, but they had to do it through some obstacles and up some ramps to really help them understand, just because we may not see it, somebody's needs, for something like a ramp is, something we should all consider. So just a couple of pictures, a kiddo who was, using a wheelchair for the first time, using a communication device like the one here in the middle picture, and then all the way on the right is an adaptive Xbox controller. So that's me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have about, you know, what we have going on in New York, or if you have any ideas that you, you know, want to bounce off of, you know, us or the other trade centers, please feel free to reach out. And I'm gonna, Bora, is it working any better?
Yes.
Okay,
Can you hear me okay now?
I think so.
Okay, so I will start. So hello again. I will be focusing more on Utah's side, delving into the world of adaptive recreation for individuals with disabilities. Next page, please. Technology is part of, am I
Oh,
frozen?
if you could start the slide over, I think, sorry, I for some reason my mouse wasn't letting me.
No,
change
that's
slides.
okay. All right, thanks. So Utah Assistive Technology program is research and practice at Utah State University. And our mission is to put assistive technology into the hands of people who need it and help them afford it. We believe that everyone should have access to the tools they need to lead a full and independent life. As Melinda shared, our ultimate goal is to promote independence across various aspects of life, whether it's in education, employment, or within community settings. We strive to empower individuals through the use of AT. We are actually celebrating 35 years of service this year, and we'll be celebrating with different events this coming fall. Next slide, please. Variety of services to meet the diverse needs of our community. These include device demonstration, loan programs, financial assistance, and comprehensive training and support. So I won't go into deep of each services, but if please reach out to me. Next slide, please. As Melinda shared, adaptive recreation focuses on making recreational activities inclusive and accessible for everyone, regardless of their abilities. So from adaptive sports like wheelchair basketball, cedar volleyball, to outdoor activities such as hiking, there are numerous ways for people with disabilities to stay active and have fun. These programs not only provide opportunities for physical exercise, but also promote social interaction, confidence building, and overall well-being. By modifying equipment and providing additional support, adaptive recreation ensures that everyone can participate and enjoy the benefits of recreational activities. And I'm seeing some of the comments that
Yeah, this is
am
Laura.
I cutting off, right?
I think there's some delay due to international difference possibly. So I don't know if, I know you and Melinda chatted about whether or not she could fill in some gaps as we go along.
Yep.
Is that possible? Sorry.
With technology, we know that it doesn't always like us very much. So I'm
Thank you,
happy
Melissa.
to, yeah, I'm happy to fill in. Ready for next slide, or do you want me to take over this one?
Yeah, could you take over? I don't want people to get
No worries at all, especially us as we went through technology works with COVID. I think, you know, apologies for technology being a bit of a pain sometimes. And it's fighting me now. Trying to click, it was like, you shall not pass. So I was lucky enough, obviously I'm not Bora, but I was lucky enough to be able to go to Utah last year with Martha to see, you know, the really neat stuff that Utah has to offer. So here are some additional inclusive activities in the state. If you click through each link, you can find some more information. I'm just going to click through a random one and just see if it lets us go there, because there are a lot of, you know, great things that they're doing. No, maybe not. Sometimes it likes me, and again, sometimes not. But the state is committed to making outdoor adventures and recreational activities accessible to everyone, regardless of ability. And this is some of the information that Bora gathered specifically for Utah. Utah provides numerous accessible fishing piers and platforms, ensuring that everyone can enjoy fishing. Adaptive fishing equipment is also available to accommodate various needs. And for hunting enthusiasts, Utah offers inclusive hunting programs and licenses, and it ensures that the thrill of the hunt is accessible to all. There are also accessible climbing walls and routes designed to accommodate different abilities, making the sport of climbing inclusive and enjoyable. There's also a variety of wheelchair accessible trails, allowing everyone to explore the state's natural beauty. And it really is truly a beautiful state that has everything from, you know, mountains, Park City, to, you know, state or national parks, I believe, towards the south. So it really is an incredibly beautiful area. There's also adaptive skiing, as I said, you know, in the mountains, and snowboarding programs available during winter, and many water sports, including adaptive kayaking and canoeing, accessible boating, and fishing docks that allow individuals with disabilities to enjoy all the activities. So we can try to put some links in the chat as we continue to go throughout the slides.
And I'll take care of those links. This is Laura.
Thank you, Laura. You're the best. So frame running, which is a really, really cool program. It involves using a 3-wheeled frame similar to a trike, but without pedals. So this unique piece of equipment allows individuals to use their legs to propel themselves forward while providing the stability and support needed to move efficiently. So frame running is not only a fun and engaging activity, but also offers numerous health benefits. You know, as those it's harder to, what do they say? A rolling stone gathers no moss. It's that much harder to, you know, to start working out and to, you know, from square one than it is to, you know, use a device like this to maintain, you know, physical health, flexibility, and mental health, really. One of the greatest strengths of frame running is its inclusivity. It provides the opportunity for everyone to participate in physical activity and promoting social interaction and community partner participation. And it just makes it a great way to connect with others. They've adopted in Utah the frame runner about 9 months ago, and they've already had many success stories that highlight the impact of frame running. They started with 3 frame runners and loaned out 3 different ones to residents in Utah. Kevin, a member of Top Sports, used a frame runner while playing t-ball. He said, the frame runner helped me not have to put so much weight on my legs so I could run for more time and not get so tired. The frame runner has been of great use for individuals, including children, to participate with their peers. One school district is seeking to use frame runners in their adaptive PE class so more can enjoy physical group activities. They recently submitted a grant and were awarded funds to purchase 8 more frame runners so that more individuals in Utah can use the opportunity to try them out. Several school districts are looking into trying them because they have seen the importance of this inclusive activity. And I believe there's a short video on the right. Let's see if it works.
And is there audio in that video at all, Melinda? Otherwise, if not, this should be fine.
There is.
You'd have to reshare and then click the share audio.
Gotcha. For the sake of, you know, I don't want to ricochet you guys, but I'll continue just without the audio, but the noise in the background is cheering from family and from friends, you know, encouraging the people using them to get to home base as quick as they can. And you can see just the different sizes. You know, obviously you've got the little guys, kiddos who are a little bit older, and it can be, you know, fitted for somebody who's obviously an adult. Top Sports is an inclusive sports league for youth and young adults with disabilities. It offers a range of sports activities designed to promote physical activity, teamwork, and social interaction among participants. People as young as 3 and as old and up as you can imagine, as well as young adults with disabilities, can play a variety of sports activities to cater to different interests and abilities. This includes t-ball, basketball, indoor soccer, and bowling. Participants can choose the sport that appeals most to them and join in the fun. And the league focuses on inclusion, fun, and skill development, providing participants with an opportunity to engage in sports activities in a supportive and welcoming environment. And participants not only enjoy the sports, but they also gain valuable life skills through their participation. So again, as you can see in the pictures, Top Sports is more than, really just a sports league. It's a community of support. Coaches and volunteers are dedicated to supporting participants, ensuring that everyone feels included and valued. And participants and their families often develop a sense of belonging, camaraderie, which makes Top Sports a truly special experience. And adaptive gaming, which is becoming more and more and more popular, and for good reason. It really is, more inclusive as time goes by, and there's even more opportunities for people to participate. Adaptive gaming refers to gaming experiences that are customized to meet the needs of individuals with disabilities. This can include the use of specialized controllers, interfaces, and settings to make gaming more accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Adaptive gaming offers a range of benefits, including increased opportunities to experience the world in new and exciting ways, and it also contributes to improved mental well-being, as gaming can be a source of joy and relaxation. Whether you're playing Call of Duty or Stardew Valley, it's all the same in terms of fun and enjoyment. Additionally, adaptive gaming can enhance motor skills such as strength, balance, vision, and perception, cognition, and attention. Finally, it can help reduce social isolation by providing a platform for social interaction and connection. Adaptive gaming works by using specialized controllers and interfaces that cater to different abilities. These controllers can be customized to suit the needs of individual players with settings that can be adjusted for different levels of difficulty. You Cuphead players out there, good luck to you. Additionally, game developers are increasingly focusing on inclusive design for everyone. Utah also set up this area with sensory space so that the lighting can be changed. The seats are more at the person's level. Fidgets and other items can be used for individuals that are included as well. So a couple of examples you can see over here on the right. And again, just to give you a preview, Martha's got some excellent resources as well coming up shortly. And adaptive gardening. So we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but really, for those of us, I'm sure, any millennials here, like, that are hitting the point where they have plant children like myself, this is a lot of options out there for people that are interested in gardening, but may use a wheelchair or other adaptive equipment. Adaptive gardening refers to gardening practices that are customized to meet the needs of individuals with disabilities that can include the use of specialized tools, equipment, and techniques to make gardening more accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Adaptive gardening offers a range of health benefits, including lowering blood pressure, increased dexterity and strength, reducing stress levels, and increased social interaction. It also contributes to improved mental well-being, as gardening can be a source of joy and relaxation. Adaptive gardening works by using a variety of tools, equipment, and techniques that cater to different individuals. Raised garden beds make it easier for people to access their gardens, and assistive garden carts help with carrying tools and supplies. There's also ergonomic tools that reduce strain and effort, and adaptive planting aids that can make it even easier. There's also automatic watering systems that provide convenience, and assistive technology apps that help with organizing, making sure that you're watering everything at the right time, and following up if any of your plants decide that they want to start to wilt. So a couple of examples here. Example of the raised garden bed. The apps, I'm not sure what that one is in the middle, but again, to help take care of and maintain your plants and your vegetables. The adaptive gardening cart, and one example of adaptive gardening tools.
And Melinda, this is Laura.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that is a plant identification app. So if someone is not familiar with what a certain plant is, or they have a vision loss or for whatever reason, it helps tell them what that plant is.
Exactly. There's actually similar apps for, if you're interested in birding, you know, there's the Cornell Merlin app that can help identify different birds in somebody's region. It's a national app, and it's really cool, similar to the one here, to help identify plants and the best ways to take care of them. Oh, and I'm about to sneeze. I looked at the flowers and all of a sudden I had to sneeze. All right, we're good. So just another couple of more examples. One of the partners at the Utah program, who is an occupational therapist, loves to, oh, I think we're missing, oh, out of order. I apologize. So here's an example of a therapeutic trike made out of PVC. So one of the things that Utah is really, really good at is fabrication. So taking items that, you know, something like a PVC pipe that is, you know, obviously not initially intended to be used as a tricycle, but using the staff knowledge and fabrication in their program, they're able to customize the item for a kiddo like the one you see in the picture here that can be made for about $500. There are instructions on that link there. So a neat opportunity for somebody that might need something more customized, but might have difficulty, you know, acquiring it through a vendor, or it just might not be practical for whatever it is they need. So the great thing about, you know, the creativity of the AT programs is that we're really, really good at taking something that might be a raw material and turning it into something like you see here with this kiddo and his tricycle. Another example, AT fabrication, as you see here with the sidecars. So AT customization is available to people who may need a low-cost personalized solution. A lot of AT, unfortunately, can be very pricey, you know, especially if it's customized. But the one thing, you know, one of many things that Utah is really exceptional at is creating customized devices that can meet the needs of a person's unique height, weight, and their particular need. So they bridge the gap between existing devices like the bikes that you see in this picture and a need to build a device from the ground up. So here you see an example of the sidecars. So as with the trike on the previous page, there's some, you know, more details on how to construct an item like the sidecar in this picture. And some more fabrication. This is a personal favorite of mine. I call it the Cleopatra chair. But this is a hiking carrier designed for a long trip. As with the others, there is additional instructions on how to build your own device, should you be interested in doing so. This is a button-activated brake system on the back of this particular item that was fabricated through the Utah program. And for those of you that are big Nerf fans out there, a Nerf gun mounted and fired from a wheelchair. So I would not want to mess with this particular one. It's a little bit more intense than any that I've seen, but again, a really neat example of, you know, looking at what a person is interested in, what they're, you know, what makes them happy, as you can see by the smiles on the faces of these two individuals, being able to participate in something together and to have fun at the same time. And just a couple more examples. One of their partners, who is an occupational therapist, loves to play the banjo. It's a hobby of his, but he couldn't play due to some back pain. And so his team designed a custom open back banjo that allows the banjo to freestand. As you see here, he's not wearing it on a strap, and it's being held up by this little stand here. So it's a simple, quick DIY project that can be easily adapted to a person's needs, whether they are somebody like this person or, you know, somebody that has a different height need, or, you know, they need to use mobility equipment, something like that. Another recent project they completed in Utah last month was creating raised planter beds for accessible gardening, kind of like the ones we saw a couple of slides ago. These raised beds are designed to enable people with mobility challenges garden comfortably, which again brings the joy of gardening to more people and promotes physical activity and well-being. These beds in particular were delivered to a local community garden. And as with the others, one of the things Bora is amazing at is, you know, giving us the details along with the information itself. So as with the others, if you are interested in making a freestanding banjo stand, or I imagine it can also be used with a guitar or, you know, other instruments, the link is here. and some other resources that that Bora has listed, some of which are also available in New York. Agribility is one. So Agribility is a national program that provides assistance to farmers, ranchers, and other agricultural workers with disabilities, helping them remain active and productive in their professions. Through Agribility, Utah can offer tailored recreational activities that accommodate their specific needs and abilities. They provide resources for ranchers and farmers on how to stay healthy and active, especially since many farmers are aging, are a little bit older, and might have needs that are different from somebody who isn't working in that profession. Common Ground Outdoor Adventures. This is an organization that offers adaptive outdoor recreation for youth and adults with disabilities. Utah's collaboration with them allows them to provide a range of outdoor activities, including hiking, biking, water activities, and ensuring that everyone can enjoy the benefits of nature and physical exercise. The next one is Unified Sports through the Special Olympics. It joins people with and without intellectual disabilities on the same team. So their partnership with Unified Sports helps to promote social inclusion through shared sports training and competition experiences. It fosters friendships, and it really helps people to develop a sense of understanding and empathy. And finally, Independent Living Centers of Utah. These centers advocate for the rights of people with disabilities and provide essential services that promote independent living. By working closely with them, the Utah program can offer inclusive recreational programs that support independent living and personal growth for people with disabilities. So this, and again, I apologize for my sniffling. Through these partnerships, the Utah AT program strives to create a diverse and inclusive range of recreational activities that cater to the needs and interests of all individuals, that promote health, well-being, and community engagement. If you do want to get in touch with Bora, her contact information is there. And as we said, if you are curious, what is my state doing? If you happen to be in a part of the country that, maybe you're not familiar with your AT program as much, or you're not familiar specifically with what they do in terms of recreation, check out at3center.net/state AT programs. So that being said, I've been talking a whole lot, and I apologize if you're tired of hearing my voice, but now I'm going to turn it over to Marth Rust to take us on home. Martha?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Melinda. Again, I'm Martha. I'm sorry I forgot to describe what I look like. I'm a Caucasian female, pronouns she and her. I have on a black shirt, a pair of reader glasses, and I have shoulder length brown blondish hair. So thank you so much. So I'm here to talk a little bit about our program, Tools for Life, that is in Georgia, and that we are housed within Georgia Tech. So if you go to the next slide for me, please. And just our mission, same as a lot of the other programs, is that we are the Technology Act, and we provide Georgians of all ages and all disabilities the opportunity to gain access to and acquisition of assistive technology devices and service so they can live, learn, work, and play independently in the community of their choice. And this is really, our mission statement is really important because so many times people tend to focus just on the employment part of their life or the home part, but the recreation, as you heard, is very important as well. So we want to make sure that we're not only covering live, learn, and work, but we're also covering the play part as well. Next slide, please. We are actually housed at Georgia Tech at the Center for Inclusive Design and Innovation. So within our center here, we have research that focuses on accessibility in a variety of different areas. We have a group that does Braille, a group that does e-text. We have an audio description unit as well as captioning. And of course, I'm a little biased, our assistive technology services for Tools for Life, I think is one of my favorites. Next slide, please. So we've already went over the slides. We have a double slide in here, but Melinda covered it really well, that AT really addresses all those functional needs of vision, hearing, speech, learning, mobility, daily living, environmental adaptation, vehicle mods and transportation, computers, automated home stuff, and then of course, recreation, sports, and leisure. And I hope that you have already heard some really cool ideas that Utah and New York are doing in their state. So if we go to the next slide, I also want to make sure we cover the positive effects of recreation and sports with people with disabilities. Not only am I the director for the Schools of Life program. I also have another job where I actually referee a wheelchair sport called wheelchair rugby. It's one of my favorite sports ever. It's a Paralympic event that will be Team USA will be fighting for that gold in Paris in August. But wanted to make sure that this has always been important to me. It's not only focusing on the school and the work, etc., but that recreation really does help build self-confidence. Recreation relieves stress. I don't know about you guys, but I need to work out. I need to take that walk at the end of the day. I need to take that walk first thing in the morning now because it gets too hot in the afternoon, just to help me relieve some stress. It also helps people focus on teamwork. You can learn to work together as a team. Physical exercise is always very good. It improves your physical health, well-being, as well as it builds social awareness, self-confidence, self-advocacy skills. It enhances functional capacity, especially among older adults. We actually have a Tai Chi class that will be happening here at our office in June. People will be learning how to do Tai Chi to train for those in the older population, which I think is really cool. We're going to try to sneak in on that class and learn some of that as well. It also helps maintain quality of life and independence, counter stigmatization, and focuses on ability and moves disability to the background. And this is so very true, especially in the world of wheelchair rugby, that I have been able to be in for the past over 15 years now, that I've actually seen this sport change lives. I've seen folks that are newly spinal cord injuries and they think that their life is over, and then they get involved in a team sport and they realize, wow, I can get married, I can have a boyfriend, I can have a girlfriend, I can, order steak and be able to ask them to cut it for me at a restaurant. I can travel. That's a huge one. How do I travel with my disability? I've seen it really open up and build self-confidence with the individuals that are playing. Next slide, please. So disability sports in school. So in January 2013, that seems like a really long time ago now, the Obama administration put out a letter to all the U.S. school districts asking that students with disabilities must be included with existing athletic programs or provide with equal alternatives. As of 2020, there were 23 colleges and universities in the USA that offered an adaptive sport program. I see the Arizona is on with us today. University in Tucson actually has a wheelchair rugby team, which is pretty cool. The Challenge Athletes Foundation actually has a link that lists some of the universities with collegiate adaptive sports. I know University of Alabama has a basketball team, and I believe they're trying to open it up to other sports as well. So you can actually click on this link and get a list of those colleges that offer adaptive sports. And like with some other sports, there may be scholarships that are offered too for those who want to go to the university or the college of their choice if they have a sport. So that's really cool. And there's also a Journal of Issues in the Intercollegiate Athletes of 2021 that also talks about the importance of disability sports in schools as well. I really wish there were more than just 23 colleges and universities in the U.S. That offered a disability sports. I really wish we would see it at the majority of the colleges and universities, just like there's football and soccer and track. I would love to see more colleges and universities offer more adaptive sports as well. Next slide. So disability in Georgia, we are a huge state. We are the largest state east of the Mississippi River. So according to the U.S. Census Bureau from 2021, there are 42.5 million Americans with a disability. That's 13% of the population. And we have 159 counties in our state of Georgia. That is a lot of counties. And I have been working with Schools for Life for 18, almost 19 years now, and I believe I've almost hit all 159 counties, which is pretty cool. We have a big, beautiful state. The CDC reported that in Georgia, there are 2,270,089 adults with a disability, which equals 29% of the population. That averages out to 1 in 3 adults. So in Georgia, there are more than 17,000 athletes served by the Special Olympics in Georgia in 121 counties. Again, I would love to see those counties increase and the numbers of athletes increase as well. Next slide, please. So this was a survey done by Disabled Sports USA in 2008. I tried to find more recent research on this, and I know there probably is some. I just could not find it. But back in 2008, the Disabled Sports USA looked at the adults with disabilities in the U.S. population, with those who were participating in sports versus those that were not. And what they found was pretty cool. I thought that employment seemed to be at 52% of those that were involved with some kind of sport or recreation activity versus 33%. Physical activity was definitely an increase from 64% if they were participating in a sport versus 30%. They led a healthy lifestyle, 52% versus 25%. I've actually seen several folks with disabilities who have looked at more of a healthy lifestyle once they started participating in some type of physical activity or some kind of sporting event because they wanted to be better in whatever they were doing. Lead a fulfilling lifestyle, 72% versus 46%. Enjoy socializing more, that was 80% versus 70%, and look forward to the rest of their life is 81% versus 61%. So that shows me that sports and recreation is doing some really positive work for people with disabilities. And I would also say for people without disabilities too. So there's a link to that survey. Again, it's really old. If you all are able to find a new survey, I would love to see that as well. Next slide, please. So Paris 2024, I had to throw this slide in. I have several friends who are participating in the Summer Paralympics. It starts on the best day of the year, my birthday, August 28th is opening ceremonies, and then it will go through September 8th. So there will be featured 22 sports. That's huge for the Paralympics, is to have 22 sports. Several different categories from wheelchair rugby that starts August 29th, just putting a plug in for Team USA there. There's things like blind football, para powerlifting, swimming, goalball, track and field. There's all kinds of sports. So that will be happening during that time as well. And this year there is around over 4,000 para athletes, which is really huge. I also have a friend that works on the Paralympic committee, and she said too, for the first time in 2024, they will actually have mental health counselors for the Summer Olympics, both in the able-bodied and the Paralympics. So I think that's really awesome that not only will these athletes be there, but they will also have access to mental health people if they need them as well. And then this is one thing I would really love to see, but I have seen in the past several years about para sports being broadcasted. And this year, they will have 140 hours that will be broadcasted on your NBC network, your USA network, Peacock, or your CNBC. So I encourage you guys to really check that out, set your recording or your streaming to record that and really watch some of these really cool, amazing athletes go for the gold. Next slide, please. So here in Georgia, hiking and outdoor is very popular. You may or may not know the start of the Appalachian Mountains starts right here in Georgia at Springer Mountains, around an hour and a half, 2 hours from the Atlanta, where I am right now. So there's like over 812 trails. We have a advisory board council member named Amy Copeland, and she helped create the All-Terrain Georgia. And there's a link there that has an accessible trail of those big power chairs that you can actually borrow when you're going to these parks. So far, we have 12 participating parks throughout the state of Georgia that you can reserve an all-terrain wheelchair for no cost, which is really super cool. There's a park that I go to quite often because of the ability to hike and also to kayak and canoe. And they do have an all-terrain wheelchair, and every time I go, I love to see that it's never there. Someone has reserved it and they're taking it out and hiking. I think the only time I've ever seen it there was when we went for a sunrise hike, and it was there, but by the time we got back, it was gone. And I just love seeing that it was out, which is really super cool. Another great way to find accessible trails is actually to use the app All Trails. It used to be free. Now there's a cost to that. I don't think it's a lot, but I use this app very often, especially when I travel from state to state. I like to be outside. I like to see what's going on. And so you can actually use this app and you can find the best wheelchair trails in Georgia. So I'm sure if you're going to another state, you can look for that as well. My mom actually wears a prosthetic, and we are traveling next week, and so she likes to be outside. She doesn't like to be outside as much as I do, but going to be using this as we venture out west. We're actually going to Alaska for the first time, so we'll be using this to see where we can go, or she can go before that's successful. So that's pretty cool. Next slide, please. We have several organizations here in Georgia as well that offer lots of different sports. One of the first things I want to talk about is an app called Meetup. You may have heard of Meetup. Meetup is an app that you can meet people doing all different types of things. So you can actually sign up for Meetup, and then you can look for different types of things, whether you want something to do with vision or hearing or using a wheelchair or whatever. So this is an app that I'm trying to throw that up there. I have several friends that I know are low vision runners, and they use this Meetup app to find different running groups that they can be a part of. I have another program called Catalyst Sports. They're really known for their climbing, doing a lot of indoor climbing. They do some outdoor, but a lot of it's indoor in the Atlanta area. They take out they go cycling, and they do a lot of kayaking as well with folks with disability. Shepherd Center. Shepherd Center is a huge brain and spinal cord injury hospital, which is literally right down the road. That's actually where I got involved with working with wheelchair rugby. So they offer 10 different sports, from fencing to wheelchair rugby. They got a fishing team. They've got a skiing team, which is super cool. They do this adapted adventure camp every summer for a week where they take folks with all spinal cord injuries or brain injuries, and they go out and they learn how to ski, they learn how to camp, they learn how to do all kinds of things. And they offer 10 different sports. And so what's really unique about this program, which is really cool, is that they allow those individuals to borrow those wheelchairs and to borrow those devices. I don't know if you've ever looked up a cost of a recreation chair, but they can be expensive. I know for a wheelchair rugby chair, they started probably about $3,000, and it only goes up from there depending on whatever your needs are to have that chair custom made for you. So I love the fact that Shepherd has chairs for people to borrow while they're doing that sport. Blaze Sport is another program that we have here. They tend to be more toward the youth, but I also know they have worked with some adults where they offer a variety of sports as well. That includes swimming. They have wheelchair basketball and some other things, which is really cool. I've seen their swimming program. They also have coaches to kind of help teach someone as well. So you're just not thrown in the water and you're like, hold on, so they actually are there to help someone learn with their disability how to swim. Georgia Blind Sports is another really big organization. They're very active. They do all kinds of things from goalball to kayaking. They do a bike ride through some really pretty trails. And so they're always looking for volunteers too, to be the sighted person in the front of the bike or the sighted person in the kayak. It's a very big organization here in Georgia that offer all kinds of opportunities for folks with low vision or no vision. Same as Georgia AER. They actually on their website have a list of sports that they help participate in or offer, which is really cool. One of them I've been wanting to try is audio darts. I think maybe I might be better with audio darts than me actually looking and trying to hit the dartboard. They also offer goalball. I was able to borrow, we had a team building event here before COVID, and we did team kickball, but everyone had to wear blindfolds except if you were the person rolling the ball. So that was really fun. You had to listen to the ball, and when it came to a certain point, and then you had to kick it. And if you were in the outfield, you were like, "Oh my gosh, where's it coming?" Because we were all wearing blindfolds. But it was really great team building as well. And then we also have a website called Explore Georgia, and this lists lots of things going on in Georgia, but it also has a place called Where to Play, where you can actually look for some more accessible places too. Next slide. Oh, if you go back slide, this is a picture of someone learning to play blind golf. They offer that too at some of the places as well. My niece is a golfer, in high school as a golfer, and her coach actually used to train golfers who had low vision or no vision. It was really cool to meet with her and just be like, how do you do this? You know, it's nothing that I never even thought about it until my niece told me about her coach, and really helping them. There's a bell or something in the ball, and then you just kind of help them line up, and then they hit the ball, and then you walk with them to wherever they are, where the ball lands. So it's super cool that there's even blind golf out there. So I'm pretty sure there's like they said there's an app for everything. I'm pretty sure now there's probably a sports for everything too. Next slide. So both New York and Utah and Georgia, we also have a gaming lab, which is really cool. We've gone over some of the importance of it, like connecting. Another benefit of gaming is this distraction, that escapism. Maybe I just need to unwind at the end of the day and just escape. I don't want to look at emails. I don't want to listen to my phone. I just want to play in this game and be an escape for a bit. There's a lot of skill building when it comes to gaming. I know students that are using games now in part of their class to build certain skills. It can be creative expression. It can be creation of art. For some people, it's very enjoyable. It's a way of life. It's a very big social connection. I think we saw a lot of that, especially during COVID, when people were stuck inside. A lot of gaming went on, and they were able to meet people socially that way. And it's got a really big universal appeal. And this is just an article that talked about benefits of gaming that I wanted to share with you guys. So we got the next slide. We do have a gaming lab, and we partner with Able Gamers. I know there are other ATAC programs in different states that also partner with Able Gamers. We were able to get in touch with Able Gamers thanks to Clayton Guffey in Arizona. He put us in touch with them, and now we partner with them, which is really a great partnership. They were able to give our lab several adapted input devices. We have some different consoles. I am not a gamer, but adapted Able Gamers actually came to Georgia to train us, our team, on how to use some of these devices. And when I find out, I am a gamer. I like to shoot things, and I like to fight with swords. So it was a lot of fun to get on some of these games and even play some of the old school Mario. Like, I did not grow up with games. My mom and dad were like, y'all are outside until the sun, and the sun went down. So I'm a little behind on the gaming, but I think I'm learning the game, and I think it's really fun. We also work really closely with the United Spinal Association of Georgia, and they have donated 3 of their gaming PCs that we can also put in our lab. They come with some games installed and some adaptive devices as well. Controllers, I guess is the right word, adaptive controllers. One of the cool things about partnering with Able Gamers is that we are able to demonstrate and have people loan out these devices, these controllers, to see if they work for them. And then if it's something that does work and they need help with the funding, we can work directly with Able Gamers. With the possibility, it is that they have some funding to help individuals get those devices, which is super cool. It's a new partnership with us. We just started partnering with them in December of last year, and so far it's going really well. Next slide. adaptive gardening. I know we talked a lot about adaptive gardening, but there's so much. These are some of the things that we have in our lab. We have some gardening tools. We have an adaptive gardening stool. The picture there, you can actually sit on it, or you can turn it over and kneel on it and then use those side rails to help you get up and down much easier. We have a raised planter box. This one is really nice because it's got some wheels on it. You can move it around. This could work maybe if you are living in an apartment or a condo and you don't have an outside area, but you want to have like a mini garden. You can definitely do that. We also have something called Dura Grip that we have in our lab that you can put on a deck or on a ramp to kind of help keep it from being slippery. So we do have that as a demonstration or to show that there is this kind of thing out there. So you could, if you do happen to put a planter or something on your deck and it can be a little slippery, you can put something down like a Dura Grip to help with that. Next slide, please. Adaptive gaming. This past April 17th, was the National Assistive Technology Awareness Day. And for us in Georgia, we decided to have a Come Play With Us Day, which was really a lot of fun. So what we did, we also had our gaming lab out and available, but we also had our adaptive games. So we had board games with Braille. We created communication cards that went with certain games so that if I was unable to speak, I would have a communication card that related to that board game so I could play. We also had our communication devices out with some pre-programmed things as well. So like if you're playing to, Monopoly would have some of those things, go to go or go straight to jail, etc. We have a few AI glasses that we had out. Definitely card games. We had some cards that were really large print. We had cards with Braille on them. We had card holders as well. We had card holders that we made out of pool noodles to show how easy it is to create. You can create a lot of things out of pool noodles. That is what I've learned the past few years. So we just had that as an example that technology doesn't have to be super expensive. We had a variety of different puzzles. We had active hand gripping aids. So this is something that you wear that can help, like if you wanted to work out or use weights, or you're using a device or using something that you needed to have a better grip on. We have Braille Rubik's Cube, which is super cool. I've not seen one before, but we have one in our lab. The picture of the gentleman on the screen, he is using something called guided hands, and it's a really cool device if you're having difficulty with your grip. You can see on the picture, he has a sheet of paper and he looks like he's coloring a wreath. So they had put the marker in the middle there, and then his hand is on a ball that's helping him hold that and color that page. A guided hand is something that you could put an iPad underneath as well, and you could use it as stylus. I have some friends who are really amazing artists, and they use different type of art apps on their tablets, and so having that, if you don't have that grip, using something like this could assist. We had our smart board out. There's a picture of a smart board that's vertical. It can also lay horizontally, so you can play things like air hockey or do a big electronic puzzle that way. We also have something called a boogie dice, which automatically rolls. If you can drop it, it kind of bounces around and kind of rolls by itself. So you don't have to like really shake your hands and let it go. You just drop them, and then it's kind of cool. The dice kind of bounce around. So next slide. We also had some things for music. Music seems, lots of people love music. We actually have the School of Music is right upstairs from me, and they are working on a robot, which is super cool because sometimes I'll come in and I'll hear the robot upstairs playing music, which is really cool to kind of see where that's going to lead to. I've met with them, and I'm looking forward to see how we can partner together with some of the things they're creating. But we have some music devices too in our lab that we wanted to share. The beams is that black thing with the it looks like I'm holding up football, the touchdown at the end, but it's got lasers in the middle. This is a little bit of an older device that still works in our lab, and so it works with an app, and then if you put your hand or something through those laser beams, it breaks and makes different sounds and music. So you can work with an app. We just loaned ours out this week with someone whose father has dementia, and he is a music lover, and she thought this might be something that he could work and play with during the day, and it'll keep his attention. So it works with an app. You can put music behind the app. You can create different sounds and stuff just by moving and breaking those light beams in the middle there. We have a theremin, which is the white thing in the bottom. That's very Star Trek-y. I think maybe I could be wrong with this. I'm not a Star Trek fan, but I think the opening music was played off a theremin. So again, you can the pole that's sticking up, you can play different music by touching it and moving it up and down, and they have some controls on that. The little cube thing is called a Skoog, Skoog. It works with an app as well, and each of those sections on the side creates different music just by hitting it. So you can create different types of music by hitting different parts of that device. And we also have a sound and light panel, which is really fun. It comes with a microphone, and then you could sing, you can make noise, and the light changes around it as well. And then there are lots of different types of apps as well. And I see that someone said the Green Hornet theme was played on the theremin. So there you go. All kinds of stuff happening with the theremin. And we have a couple of these in our lab, and people tend to love them, and we do loan them out. So it's super cool. Next slide, please. And that is all I have left, except there is a virtual tour of our Tools for Life lab. It does have sound to it, so I don't think we can show it right now unless you log off and log back on.
I think I'm gonna try trying to reshare. Bear with me one quick second, everybody.
Sure. No
Melinda,
problem.
yeah, this is Laura. Yeah, just if you stop sharing, and then when you go to reshare, at the bottom is the little box to check share computer sound, and then that should come through.
You got it.
So during COVID, we wanted to create a virtual tour of the entire center because we weren't doing tours for a little bit, but people were still asking us what we had in our lab and would like to see. So we created a virtual tour of the entire center, but we also cut it down to just our part with Tools for Life. I can tell you that we have since grown our lab, so we're going to have to do another virtual tour soon, but hopefully this will give you an idea of what our lab looks like in Georgia.
I think I got it. If we don't hear sound, just let me know, and I will try again.
Tools for Life is Georgia's Assistive Technology
We're
Act
good.
program. Hello, my name is Tori Hughes, and I'm the Outreach Specialist for Tools for Life. Welcome to the virtual tour of our Assistive Technology Solutions Labs here at Tools for Life. We're so glad to have you with us today. Tools for Life is Georgia's Assistive Technology Act program. We offer a variety of solutions that include device demonstrations, assistive technology device loans, funding resources, assistive technology training, and outreach support. We have created this virtual tour of our assistive technology labs as a way for everyone to grab a quick peek at some of the AT items we have in our labs to help people with disabilities live independent, purpose-filled lives. The labs are divided into 3 areas. We have the AT Solutions Lab, Environmental Access Lab, and the Augmentative Alternative Communication Lab. So let's start the tour with our first stop in our AT Solutions Lab. This area offers a variety of AT solutions in many areas. We have solutions for the home and community, as well as school and workplace. This section offers solutions for preparing meals and eating. We have automatic feeders that we can demonstrate. Along with eating, we have other solutions to help with everyday self-care. This includes bathing, toileting, and hygiene. We also have assistive technology to help those who may be blind or have low vision. These include video magnifiers, talking graphing calculators, and refreshable braille displays. We have solutions for hearing that can assist in a classroom or work environment, as well as listening to your TV at home. In our AT Solutions Lab, we have items that you can wear that can assist in making dressing easier and reducing anxiety, such as weighted vests. Our next stop on our virtual tour is our Environmental Access Lab. Here, you'll find solutions to help in controlling your environment. Next, we're going to move on to our Augmented and Alternative Communication, or AAC Lab. This is the newest addition to the Tools for Life AT Labs, and we are excited and thrilled to demonstrate and show individuals all sorts of different solutions when it comes to communication. Of course, this is just a sneak peek of what we have in our inventory, and we hope that you'll reach out to us if you want to see more. If you need help solving a problem for yourself, a loved one, a student, an employee, or anyone else, please feel free to get in touch. If you would like to schedule a time to demonstrate an item, please give us a call at 1-800-497-8665 or check out our website at www.gatfl.godtech.edu.
Thanks for playing that. So it's a little bit about what our lab is. I can already tell it's outdated. We've added more besides the gaming to our lab. We've also added a whole AT and intimacy section as well. So we've in a health literacy section, a whole thing with aging in place and dementia as well. So we're going to have to redo that. Another cool, exciting thing is that we are launching our brand new website this week. If you go to it today, it may be different tomorrow. We're just waiting for Georgia Tech's, the IT department at Georgia Tech to really put our new one up and redirect it on the old one, or whatever the IT magic people do. But super excited. We've been working on a brand new website for, I think, almost 4 years now. It was a huge beast. For those of y'all that create websites, maintain website, hats off to you, but super excited that we will have a brand new one live this week. So if you want to go to the next slide, this is how you can reach us in Georgia. And definitely check out our YouTube channels. We have a lot of cool videos and how-to videos and stuff on our YouTube as well. And please friend us on Facebook and Instagram. We are always putting resources and equipment and all kinds of things on our social media as well. So thank you. Now I guess we can open it up for questions.
Well, thank you. I just want to go on vacation now. I'm just going to say. All right. Martha, are you able to just pop the link? I know it's in the handout for the virtual tour link. If you get a moment, someone asked for that. And just a reminder that a PDF of the slides, there's a link to that at the end of the survey. So that is your incentive to take the survey and provide feedback. And then you can have a link to the handout. So again, thank you to the three of you. I know Bora had her technical difficulties, but I would like to open this up for questions from the audience at this point. Otherwise, I'd like to kind of feed a little bit of a leading question for the chat. I'd like folks to maybe share, what is your favorite recreational activity? And how might you make that modified if you had a disability?
Well, you guys are writing that in the chat, which is a great prompt because there's so much out there that people don't always realize. We really want to emphasize to everybody on the call. And if anybody, if you know anyone outside of this presentation and they're not sure what's out there, we get that all the time. And I'm sure all the other AT programs are the same. People reach out and say, I want to try a thing for blank. What's out there. Just know that things change all the time. New technology comes out constantly and options are, better than ever in many ways for many people. One thing that I forgot, early on was ways to make things accessible, also consider, if you are having an event that might be overnight, what is the hotel situation in your area? So right now we have a big bowling event coming to our region. So our staff has been looking at hotels in the region to see what is accessible that's out there that, people can stay at together. We don't want to separate people. We don't want to like shuffle them around the Queensbury region. So taking a look at stuff like that. And also, if you have an activity, obviously you've seen some amazing examples of recreation, through AT. So AT designed specifically for fun and for games and for, stuff like that. What's, out there that might not be considered a traditional fun item, but can still help somebody. So for example, there's items called liftwear. It's for people that have tremors or maybe a side effect of medication or Parkinson's. It's a self-balancing eating utensil. I wish I had one to show you, but maybe, somebody, if they wanted to do an event where there was a food component, be it we have a soup stroll or macaroni and cheese competition or chili, or, I'm thinking of regional delicacies in your different states, items like that somebody can borrow in order to participate. We had a gentleman at our Buffalo Center who was embarrassed to go out to eat with his family because he didn't want people to stare at him when he spilled food. He was able to try a liftwear and it was a game changer. He turned to his wife and said, "We're going out for dinner." So think about stuff like that, things that might not be a traditional fun piece of assistive technology, but might help somebody get there at the end. And I did see the comment about Cuphead with AT, and I'm not joking. There is a person on YouTube, I follow him, his name is Big Mouth Dylan, and he plays the hardest video games using a quad stick. So he uses his mouth to use the controller along with an adaptive video game controller. He is better at anything that I will ever do. And I don't know how he does it. He makes it look easy. So follow him if you have, he doesn't have any followers. He's incredible.
I also see the comment about board games and looking at the 3D printing that could assist. There's also some tools out there that can help build up a piece of a board game that can turn on hard plastic, or I'm going blank on some of the things right now, but we have done that where same as building up a key to make it easier to grip to open the door. You can do the same for some board game device. This. It's supposed to be, you're the blue one, you can build it up so you can actually hold on to it and move it around as well.
And this is Laura. We did have a question in the Q&A, which I did answer. An individual was asking how you had your captions on the slide itself. So I explained that those are an accessibility component of PowerPoint and they're auto-generated within the slides. So I did answer that in the Q&A.
Also with captioning in YouTube on the back end, so if you are uploading a video, there are dashboard options that you can use. And so there are automatic generated captions, but then you can also go in and add your own, because sometimes auto captioning doesn't always pick up on, not everybody's speech patterns. So it's really, if you are going to make a YouTube video, and I'm sure that Tools for Life did this because everything was exact, you can edit them yourself to make sure that the timing is correct and that the syntax is correct as well. So you can also add descriptive things in there, if somebody's not talking, but there's a sound in the background. So definitely check that out if you haven't, because it's a great tool. And you can also use it to translate, if you have your video and you want it translated to Spanish or to whatever language, you can do that too.
You are so right, Melinda, but I would not take credit for any of that. We have a captioning team here, so they did it all. It was all live and they did that, but you are totally correct that you could do it yourself and go in and edit it for sure. But they do such a great job. I just have them do our captions for us. And we also are lucky we have a videographer who is amazing, has gone to different types of training and education on how to film and capture people with different varieties of disability in a very positive way. And she does such an amazing job. So I would definitely love to give them both a shout out.
So I'm seeing some great examples of recreation and what people enjoy doing. So Dave with Options for Independent Living did share that he's picked up adapted curling, which is an ice sport. Probably not too popular in Georgia, but I'm sure New York, upper New York, I'm sure has
I've never seen it. I love
Really?
watching curling. I've never seen it live, but like watching it on the Olympics, that's where I go to. Like I admire like the runners and all that, but I'm like, give me the curling. That stuff's cool. I
We
couldn't
just
do
had
it.
someone do it. Yeah, I've never heard someone say they enjoy watching curling, so that's a good one.
It
I have
takes so
many,
much precise timing, and I don't know, like the intensity is just, I don't know, it speaks to me.
yeah, I've got many friends on curling leagues, so I just kind of chuckle when I hear, oh, I like to watch it.
Tell them they've got a fan in New York.
I will let them know that. So we've got Dana has just tried adapted water skiing. We've also got Wisconsin has, well, it's actually national, I believe. Fishing Has No Boundaries was highlighted. Kayaking access with adapted paddles and grips. And I should point out that Options for Independent Living, as part of their WisTech inventory, does now have a kayak available for short-term loan. So we have really been beefing up the recreation opportunities in our state. We did have a webinar on this topic last year, and I put a link into the chat, and I see someone else likes watching curling. That's because you're from Minnesota, Heidi. That is why, because you have 9 months of winter, just like Wisconsin does. For me, I'm a mountain biker, and I had the opportunity last year to go out and do a group ride with Ability 360, which is an independent living center in Arizona, and did a group mountain bike ride. And so it was very interesting that they were making the bikes available for people to try out. It's a women's clinic, and there was several women who had never considered going off-road on a mountain bike before their disability, let alone after. And with the pricing, and one of you noted that these like the rugby chairs, all that, it's expensive. It's expensive to get into a sport, to have the faith that you're going to want to do it. And so these women had the opportunity to try out these $10,000 adapted mountain bikes to know whether they're going to fall in love with that sport or not. And so that was pretty fun. I certainly was wishing for some of their e-assist or motorized assist on some of the climbs, since I do not ride with that. But it was interesting. It also gave me insight into the challenges when we are out in the woods or out on the trails. One rider, they broke a chain. And so this is an individual that, has a spinal cord injury. They necessarily can't flip the bike upside down, take the wheels off, get the new chain on. So it did highlight the importance, not only for everyone should always have a partner when they're out doing things remotely, or have a way of contacting for safety, carrying a cell phone, all of those things, plenty of water, all of that. But it really just highlighted the fact, okay, this individual, if they were alone, they would have had, if they didn't have cell coverage, just like if I broke a chain, I wouldn't be able to fix it either. But it did highlight some of the added considerations we need to think about when we're looking at access in remote areas. And some other comments are
That's
just
a
pointing
great
out, we've
point,
got
Bora.
sled hockey. What was that?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That's such a great point too, is that safety too. There's apps like Life 360, but I have a friend who is he's very adventurous. He goes camping by himself, he kayaks by himself. His wife had got him a GPS because he's often off the grid where she can't get a hold of him. And so there are devices now that you can track someone by GPS without the cellular service as well. So those things are important. And then even maintaining some of these devices, like the chain for the bike. I mean, something like the wheelchair rugby, and you have to think about all the tubes that go in. That's expensive too. If you pop a tire, you're going to need another tube. And so all those expenses kind of adds up. So it's kind of nice to have resources where people can definitely borrow and try it out to make sure they actually want to purchase and start that sport for sure.
Yeah, and I think with all the groups that you've shared and the examples you gave, especially even just Meetup, it's almost like that buddy system as you're starting out into a sport, and being able to learn. So what should I have in my pack if I'm going to go out and do X, Y, and Z? So I think the more we can build that knowledge and confidence for individuals, because that's the other component of it, the confidence to just pick up something new and try it. We've all got different levels of where our comfort is with doing things like that. So, but yeah, we're seeing some great examples in the chat, and just wanted to open it up for any other questions or tidbits that anyone would like to share for our recreation. Otherwise, I just love the fact that it's really neat to see what other states are doing. Last year, our recreation webinar focused, we partnered with Montana, so they shared some great examples of kind of remote lake access, things like that. But then we highlighted much of what Wisconsin is doing. And so this year I really wanted to generate creativity for everyone attending to, okay, maybe we don't have that option here, like that frame runner. I am totally intrigued with that. And would love to see some of those in our loan inventory. Because I think it could just open up another recreation opportunity. So I'm seeing tons of resources piling in here. So I cannot thank the three of you enough for sharing what your states are doing, what your programs are doing, and what the residents of your states have the opportunity to do. I think this is super exciting. And again, I can't thank you enough for sharing all of your knowledge with this webinar today for WisTech. And
thank you for having us. We're happy to bounce ideas. As we said, if you guys on the call have, if you're like, how did they do such and such a thing? Reach out. We're happy to share resources because, we want, if there's people that that would be interested, we'll happy to do what we can to, help you guys get off the right foot.
Yes, thank you so much.
I see Casey shared that, she didn't really necessarily wouldn't have tied it like to recreation. So that gardening example that was shared, that's a great tie-in because I think all of us, you want to love what you do for a job. And so if you can tie it to what you love to do outside of the job, I think that's a cool link that you guys made in the presentation. And I'm glad Casey picked up on that. So just a little end tidbit here. I did put a link in for all of our upcoming webinars. So again, these are free for you guys to register for. We do have one on accessible event hosting coming up in July, which, if you're inviting friends over, how are you going to make sure that it's welcoming and inviting for all? So I wanted to highlight that one. That's from a program partner in Alabama. Plus our other ones, especially one on AI. That's going to be very interesting. On ethics of AI, which will provide ethics CRC credits, which many of us need. But again, in order to get those credits, you'll need to take that post survey. So it should pop up after this webinar is closed down, and then it will come in an email to you tomorrow and a link to the handouts, and then it will be archived on the YouTube channel. That usually takes a couple weeks because I do have to get the captions uploaded, and that I don't use auto-generated, so that takes a little more work. But thanks again, everyone, and enjoy your summer. Hope to see you back maybe next week for a webinar on augmentative and alternative communication or event hosting in July. Otherwise, thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.